My name is Victoria from Victoria's Productions, and today we are going to be talking about challenging negative thoughts. So tomorrow I am starting my first series with Empowered College Prep. Every month, once a month, I go to the school and I speak with youth about different topics that they're challenging and they're dealing with at that time to give them some positive feedback and give them some good feedback so they do not make the wrong decisions and they can also think outside of the box. So this is my flyer. See that? Girl Talk with Victoria, and then it's tomorrow, November 15th. And so this is the full flyer. It's little girls. They have questions. So cute. So pretty much the topic is called challenging negative thoughts. And so I'm going to talk about where they come from, what they are, and then how to overcome them, and then living your best life while challenging them. So first thing is, where do these negative thoughts come from? So when you're born, you do not automatically think about, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not capable enough. These things were introduced to us as we go along and through experience. So, for example, when I was really young, about like 13, 14, my mom would take me to her work for take your daughter to work day or something like that. And so I was lucky enough to meet some judges, and they would always ask me that question of what do you want to be when you grow up? So I always would pick something within their field because it was, or something that they were doing, because it was very easy to say, oh, I want to be a judge. Then they can be like, oh, Victoria, you're amazing. Just keep doing good and get good grades and be a good girl and you'll be a judge someday. That's what everybody says, right? So this one day my mom takes me to get a physical with a doctor. And so, we're in there, he's taking my vitals, and then my mom had to step out of the room to go to the restroom. And so while she went to go to the restroom, he was saying before she left, he said, oh, don't worry about it, I'm just going to take your blood pressure, and then I'm not going to do anything, like any actual exams, physical exams, till you get back. So she left, and then so he asked me, just to start some small talk, he asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? So I was prepared for this question because everybody asked me. And so I looked up anesthesiologist. So I told this doctor, I want to be an anesthesiologist when I get older. He looks at me and he says, you're not going to be an anesthesiologist. You'll never be an anesthesiologist. And he looked at me, serious face. And I said, no, that's what I'm going to be, thinking that he's going to like back down, say, oh, no, you're right. That's what you're going to be. He would not back down. And he kept saying, nope, that's not what you're going to be. You will never be an anesthesiologist. And he left me with that. And so till this day, I remember, I literally remember where I was, what room I was, what practice I was at, where I was standing when he was saying this. Because it was so embedded into my mind, like, what did this guy mean? Like, what did he mean? So I kept that. Now it's been like 14 years since then, but I've kept that. Is it 14 years? Yeah, about 14 years since then. But I kept that in the back of my mind, always curious, what did he mean? So around that time, we would have like half school days where we'll get off of school early, and there was this really happening place that we always would go to, Peter Piper Pizza. And so I was walking after school, I got home early, and I was walking to Peter Piper Pizza, and I was crossing the busy street, and these three white males in a white truck, it was a really beat down white truck, and I'm just walking by myself, and they all scream out of there was one guy in the truck, and there were two in like the back bed of the truck, and they were yelling these profanities at me, calling me N-word, B-word, and they kept saying it, N-word, B-word, N-word, B-word, and I always was like, why are they calling me this? Like, what? So I kind of put those two together, and I was thinking, well, maybe that doctor thought I was not going to be that because I'm less than, or because I am an N-word, B-word, or because society sees me as this, I'm not going to become a that. Although I know that's not true, but me as a young kid, I thought that's what it was. And obviously that's not the case. I know that now, but it's because I taught myself how to challenge those negative thoughts, people that people place on me or people say to me, not to absorb those and to feed that negative thought. And so how they start is that, like I said, people would say something to you and you feed into it. So just to give you a visual, it's sort of like when you have like a pot and you put soil in the pot and you put like a little channel way down with your finger and you drop a seed in there, right? Then you cover that seed up with soil, and then you'll feed it, like give it water, and then it'll absorb the nutrients from the soil, and it'll grow and it'll grow and it'll grow, and then eventually the seed pops out a sprout and it sprouts up a flower, and then that flower eventually becomes a beautiful flower and it blooms into what it was supposed to be and what it was meant to be. However, when you have these negative thoughts, those seeds are not flowers, they sprout into weeds. And if you know anything about gardening or anything like that, I grew up in an area where we were very it was around people that didn't have much money, so I saw a lot of like yards just filled with weeds. So what happens is that when you have weeds in your yard, then another weed pops up, another one pops up, and then it just keeps coming, and eventually your whole yard's filled with weeds. Then the plants that are supposed to be in your yard end up dying because the weeds are just overgrown and they're killing the plants. That's what happens within your life if you allow negative thoughts to overcome you. And you do not do that routine maintenance. You do not challenge those thoughts. You do not do things that get your mind out of that negative space, because you're going to believe in that. And some people, their lives are just like those yards that I used to pass when I was a little girl, and it was just filled with weeds, and their life is just weeds. It was just issues and problems and negativity, and they just spew negativity everywhere. You know, you're doing something, just attacking people everywhere. So anyways, so it's really important, and that's just a visual, and when people feed you this negativity and you feed into it, you're like, oh, maybe I am this way. Maybe I'm not good enough. Just more water going into the pot and more nutrients absorbing it, and it's just growing. It's like, oh, I'm never going to be anything. Oh, I failed at this. Oh, I'm not going to ever be this, and I'm never going to do that. So it just keeps feeding, and it grows into it. And then you never do things that you always wanted to do, things that were always in your heart to do. You never do it because you believed those negative thoughts. And people don't understand that words are very powerful. Things that we say are very powerful. What you hear are very powerful. They can change people's lives. A lot of the issues that we've had with terrorism and people shooting up schools and suicide, all stem from negative thoughts. It's, and it doesn't seem as, I would say that it doesn't seem as dangerous because you can't actually physically touch it and you can't see it. So it kind of comes out of nowhere. It's like this little thing that started at, oh, you're never going to be an anesthesiologist. You are an N-word, B-word, ends up growing into, I'm never going to accomplish this. I'm never going to get a job. I'm never going to have my own home. I'm never going to have a vehicle that I own. I'm never going to become of anything. I'll never have someone who loves me. It all stems from that one little seed that somebody planted. You see where I'm coming from? So now we know what they are, how it was started, how it's fed, and how it grows. How do we overcome it? That within itself, everybody's so different, and then depending on where your headspace is, you overcome challenging thoughts different ways. My best way that I love to do it is to challenge them straight on. For example, okay, I'm not pretty. First of all, you need to take a step back and you need to say, okay, is this a negative question? Because it is. There's beauty in everybody, and then there's different types of beauty. If you look even at like the Fenty, the Rihanna Fenty makeup line, she has curvy girls, she has girls with gap teeth, she has girls who have skin imperfections, girls that are short, girls who are tall, girls who are thin. So there's beauty in everything, in everyone, and it's mainly about living this life happy within your body. So, first you need to figure out, okay, is this question a negative question? Because some questions are just straight negative. There's nowhere you can go with asking yourself, am I ugly? Am I educated? Am I smart? That's not really a good question, because there's nobody on this planet that is smart in everything. That, it's more of like, okay, I want to learn more about this topic, so I need to do this and this to learn about that. You see what I'm saying? I want to explain this as best as I can. So the first thing is challenging it by asking the right questions. Okay, this person said that I am not going to be an anesthesiologist. Okay, do they mean that because they feel that I'll be better at doing something else? Do they think, okay, I'm not going to be a doctor because in 20 years from now he thought there's not even going to be in most doctors or something? There's not going to be a lot of doctors. I mean, it could be anything. So it's really not feeding into it and more just hitting it straight on. Second thing is overcoming a negative thought. Sometimes it just overcomes you so much that you have to just get out of your space. So that means, like, if you're just, like, let's say you're arguing with somebody, going back and forth, sometimes it's best to just stop, walk away. If you're thinking this person's crazy, don't say they're crazy, just walk away. If you're suffering with some sort of depression or anxiety, doing a fun task like dancing, yoga, meditating, drawing, writing out your issues, writing out the problems, writing out solutions, writing music, that's really helpful. There's so many different things, and sometimes you have to do different things. You don't just do the same thing every time, because it's going to change. Like, let's say dancing, dancing might help, me getting out of and just listening to some music and dancing just to get like a different feel, to get my mind on something else. Might not help the second time. You may want to paint, or you might want to draw, or go shopping. Anything you can get out of that space to help you through that. Also, nice things are gratitude journals. You can always write down every single day what you're happy about in your life, because it brings some sort of gratitude and appreciation for what you have in this world, and you can appreciate what you have, and you can see outside the box and get out of that negative space. Vision boards, cutting out like little pictures of things that you want to accomplish. Stuff like that. I have a vision board for myself. I have wind jar. I have a video about wind jars and what they are, how to make one, so feel free to look at that if you like. But all those things, they help you overcome your negativity. Sometimes you can talk to somebody, but I was very, when it came to my problems, I was very introverted. I didn't share a lot of the issues that was going on in my life. So, and a lot of youth are that way because they're afraid that they're going to get their parents in trouble or friend whatever in trouble, and they don't want any issues with that. So it's always nice to talk to somebody, but if not, journaling, gratitude journals, vision boards, all of those things are amazing. The nice thing is that now we have YouTube, so you can just click on something and you can go into a whole world of something else and not have to be surrounded by that negativity. So how do you live your best life while dealing with negative thoughts? You have to always be conscious of what you're thinking and what your body's doing and how you're feeling at all times, and becoming a master at that. The reason why I say that is because, I feel that we all have a potential. We all have potential within our bodies, within our souls, but what stops us from doing that is because we don't know what's going on here. We're here, we're there, we're all over the place. There's so much going on so many different levels. So you want to make sure that you know what's going on in your brain. And so the first thing, and this is why I started out this series with challenging your negative thoughts, is to learn how to question yourself. Okay, you think that you're not this, or this person's not this. Well, why do you think that? Is that true? Well, how about you look up some people who are African American, who run companies, who are politicians, who do good for the community. Okay, you don't think that this nationality is this or this. These are just things that people would say, and there's some beliefs, false beliefs that are not accurate, and negativity that isn't accurate. So I always believe in challenging it and fact checking. So, and then always remembering to put yourself first and to do things for yourself, because when you're putting something out, you always want to put that air mask on first. Whenever you get into the airplane, the stewardess, they always tell you, if we end up going down or there's an emergency happens, you put on your air mask first and then you help someone else. So if you're having an issue and you're having some negativity, some depression, some anxiety, you take care of that first before you go and help anybody else, because they're not going to get the best you that you have, because you're not totally whole. So you want to make sure that you're whole first. And I hope these helped. So again, I want to go through this just really quick. So we discussed challenging negative thoughts, what they are, where they come from, and how they become bigger issues. We talk about how to overcome those negative thoughts, and then living your best life while challenging them. I hope this helped. Feel free, please subscribe to my channel and like, share, follow. If you have any other anything that you do to overcome your negative thoughts, put it down in the comments below. And if you'd like for me to make another video on something else, feel free, reach out. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.